You've been an outspoken skeptic of the science pointing toward man-made climate change. With some of the top scientists in the world having contributed to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and concluding that it's real, we just don't, it's hard to predict what the effects will be. What is the appropriate balance to strike between environmental protection, industry, the state's economy, and then weighing that with potential federal regulations, which I know you've been strongly opposed to?
Yeah. Well, the IGPCC that you're talking about, the
Yeah.
governmental panel, there's no question on their views on climate change and being anthropogenic, caused by man. And I am skeptical of that. But what I have tried to do, particularly last year, is change the nature of the discussion, because what we have in this country, speaking in the most broad terms, we have people that believe that climate change is caused by man and those that do not. And then what we are doing is throwing stones at each other because one group doesn't believe as another. We're not getting anywhere. What I'm not, and I am a skeptic. What I'm not skeptical of is the fact that, for example, with coal, I'm not skeptical of what the markets are doing. I mean, coal is the markets are putting a hit on coal right now. So, as the state that exports more energy than any other state, we have a right to be critical and skeptical of things, but we also have a duty to be a leader in research and innovation. And so what I've said is you can believe either one of these sides, but let's find solutions one way or another, because we all have a goal, whether it is coal, oil, gas, or renewables, to make them as clean as possible and as efficient as possible. And you don't have to sign off on one position or another to get to that point. And so the balance you're talking about is last year we came out with an energy strategy, and the first energy strategy for the state of Wyoming, and the title is energy, economy, and environment, because of that balance that we need. And we do need balance.
You rejected the federal government's offer to pay for an expansion of Medicaid, which would get more people insured. I know you're critical of the Affordable Care Act and have said that you want to expand Medicaid the Wyoming way. But why not give the federal expansion a chance just to get more people insured now?
Well, there's a couple things. Is on anything you do, especially something as big as the expansion of Medicaid, I think there's an obligation for me, legislators, and the citizens to say, is this going to work? And one of the concerns I had when I sued on the ACA, which was, I think, the first lawsuit we had, was, one, I didn't think that the theory of the case or the theory of how this was going to work was necessarily sound, which was in part, we're going to have a bunch of young people sign up, and they're going to be a healthier pool, they're going to contribute money, and in fact we've seen that that's not the case. So we sued on it. The court said we were wrong. I accept that. And so I said also, as they say, we can't stick our head in the sand. We can like it or not like it, but you have to live with the facts. But one of the concerns I have had is if you put, for example, what they call the woodwork population, which is about 16,000, 17,000 people in the state, people who are working. And because they're working, they make too much money to get traditional Medicaid, which is 100% or below the poverty level. But they don't make enough to get health care. You're leaving people in the gap who are working but just can't get it. But I thought if you sign those people up and then 2 years from now or 3 years from now you say, hey, complete change because we can't afford the 90% we're promising the states long term. Have we really gained anything, or we're just collapsing the system? So last year, the legislature's been very resistant to even looking at this. Last year, we presented, said here's 6 or 7 different options for Medicaid expansion. Of those options, the best one I thought was what we called Medicaid Fit, which was an expansion of our traditional Medicaid. But I was not supportive of that. I thought if you're going to do it, that's the best way. Post last session, the legislature said, hey, go to HHS, the federal agency, go to CMS, the federal agency, and let's see what the best deal is we can get. So in the past months since the session, I've worked with the Department of Health, our Department of Health, and have met with HHS and CMS saying, we are a different state than California or highly populated states. We face challenges of even finding providers. We face challenges of distance. We want to have what they call the 1115 waiver, which is designed as sort of a pilot project. And in that pilot project, we want to be able to see if we can have something that is a good fit, a good Wyoming way.